2 News begins now.
Hello, and thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus. I'm Brandon T. Jones, and with the start of a new year, we're taking time to look back on some of the top stories of the past year here in the Inland Northwest. Let's go ahead and take a look back at some of the stories that made headlines in October of 2024.
A walk in the park can be routine, though in North Idaho, come prepared.
Yes.
Like
Actually,
Terry Call does.
My walking stick is for a moose, because if they get too close, I can go moose. No.
A moose may be expected in Falls Park. What Terry actually ran across Tuesday
This is really a shock to see.
caught everyone by surprise. Regular walkers turned sightseers, trying to catch a shot of this toppled 100-ton giant, not in Avista's plans for the 100-year-old North Dam's rehab.
We don't know exactly what happened or what caused the crane what was the root cause of the accident. We'll be going through an assessment investigation to figure that out.
But they do have an emergency plan, which led to the brief warning the dam could fail
That's a lot of water behind the dam, so
and flood.
we'll see.
Operations and Dam Safety performed our joint inspection approximately 1 hour afterwards. So it was around 10:15 or 10:20 when we were able to make that determination and stand that down.
Even with no flood danger in this damage, it will upend Terry's weekly wildlife walks.
I've been supplementing the chipmunks with seed, but when I got to the park today, the gentleman said it's completely closed.
With no idea how long this beast could lie.
Well, that flash flood watch went out because the National Weather Service says they were following the emergency procedures already in place for the Post Falls Dam. It was canceled in less than an hour.
And it's a rare event that when we do this.
This being the flash flood watch sent out by the National Weather Service after a crane collapsed at the Post Falls Dam Tuesday morning. NWS hydrologist Robin Fox says it started with a phone call from the dam's operator saying they were activating their emergency action plan for potential failure.
The National Weather Service is one of those stakeholders that gets notified because we issue the alerts for watches and warnings of any type of failure.
Fox says that prompted the Weather Service to issue the flash flood watch as part of their procedure. That went out right before 10 a.m. It was canceled less than an hour later after getting word the dam was safe and the emergency action plan scaled down. Ryan Bean manages plant operations and maintenance at the Post Falls Dam.
Part of our temporary construction emergency action plan includes a list of notifications. Those include our internal and external agencies.
One thing to note, NWS issued a watch, not a warning, which is on the lower end of their emergency spectrum. According to the Weather Service, a watch means conditions are favorable for an event to happen, such as a flash flood, but doesn't mean it will. It's issued to allow people who can be impacted to get ready. A warning means the event's imminent or already happening, and people need to take action.
Given this time of the year, there's not much water in the rivers right now, but still any sudden release of water could be hazardous because we're not used to that at this time, any change in the flow right now.
Now, while both Avista and the National Weather Service says they followed their emergency protocol, some emergency responders, including the fire chief for Kootenai County Fire and Rescue, say while they understand why the flash flood watch was put out, they questioned if it was needed and wished they'd been coordinated with. In studio, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
It had been rumored for almost a decade that Gonzaga would eventually leave the West Coast Conference for a bigger conference, and that day has finally come. After 45 years in the WCC, Gonzaga is joining the new-look Pac-12 Conference in all of their sports on July 1st, 2026. This was a deal that came about very quickly as Gonzaga president Thay McCullough says he heard from a Pac-12 member school of the interest only a week ago. McCullough and athletic director Chris Standiford both lauded the regionality of the new Pac-12 and maintained a high level of care for the well-being of Zag student athletes in realignment discussions.
The question time and time again is, what is the impact going to be on the student-athlete experience? And I mean that both in terms of athletic opportunity, but also academic opportunity. And I feel that the members of the Pac-12 are really sensitive to that same issue. And as the Pac-12 considers its membership, and clearly the center of gravity remains in the West, that creates some wonderful opportunities for a continuation of our real care and support for our student athletes, consideration for travel and the impact on their schedules, and yet at the same time opens up some fabulous new opportunities for competitiveness. So that is very much a factor in our consideration and has been since the beginning.
The other big selling point is the revenue share that GU will receive from the Pac-12. Standiford did not reveal particulars, but says the school is happy with the package received and is happy to now have a seat at the Pac-12 table.
Yes, this is a better situation for us financially, without question. It is an opportunity for us to invest more directly in our student athletes and create a more robust experience for them, and potentially for more of them. We're really excited about the terms we agreed to. We feel like they are in a space of true partnership and represent the quality and the value that Gonzaga believes that we bring to the proposition.
The Pac-12 must still add another school with a football program to be officially recognized as a conference. Those negotiations are ongoing. We will hear Mark Few's thoughts on the move to the Pac-12 on Saturday when Gonzaga holds its annual Craziness in the Kennel event. But truly a momentous day today at GU.
Welcome back to the KREM 2 Plus Year in Review. I'm Brandon T. Jones, and right now we're looking back at some of the top stories of 2024. Join us as we go month by month through the year's headlines. Right now, we want to look at some of the stories that made news in November.
Tonight in this room, Washington State Democrats were celebrating Bob Ferguson, and Ferguson thanked the thousands of supporters and volunteers who helped make victory possible. Now, Ferguson told the crowd his campaign won by building a massive grassroots coalition. He says they traveled across the state to 39 counties and heard people's concerns. And he says those conversations will guide him as governor. Ferguson said, "We will make progress on the most critical issues, from housing affordability to public safety, and from economic development to the ferry system." This has been such a big race in Washington, with voters electing the first new governor in 12 years. Ferguson, who has been the state attorney general since 2013, says he's ready for the job.
As your attorney general with a fantastic team, we fought for you every single day. We did not pull our punches. And as your governor, I will center you, each and every one of you, red counties, blue counties, Republicans, Democrats, independents. You are top of my mind. I'm thinking of you, will advocate for you, will make Washington even a greater state than it is today. Thank you so much, everybody. Let's go get them.
Ferguson thanked his opponent, Dave Reichert, for a hard-fought campaign. He also thanked his wife, Colleen, and kids, Jack and Katie. He says he will be making an announcement in the coming weeks about building a team to lead Washington State into 2025 and beyond. In Seattle, Natalie Swaby, KREM 2 News.
While the Bischoff family didn't feel comfortable talking on camera, they did send me a statement saying how they feel about the community's support during a difficult time like this. On Saturday, November 16th, Zion Bischoff was involved in a 5-car crash on Highway 195 in Spokane County near Rosalia. According to Washington State Patrol, a semi was heading south when it lost control on the icy roadway and jackknifed its trailer into the northbound lane. The car with Bischoff inside was heading north on 195 in the left lane when it hit the semi and was pushed into the right lane, hitting 2 other cars. The trailer of the semi also hit a parked car, pushing it into a rock wall. Since the crash, the family started a GoFundMe page. It has since raised over $136,000, which is over 90% of the page's goal. The family sent KREM 2 a statement thanking the community for rallying behind them at a time like this. The Bischoff family says, "We would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to our community for the incredible outpouring of love our family has received." 2 days after the crash, WC football coach Jake Dickert announced at a press conference that the team would be wearing ZB patches on their helmets to honor Zion, who was friends with Dickert's daughter, Riley. In the GoFundMe page set up for the Bischoff family, Zion was described as known by many and easily made everyone feel like his best friend. The family also says in their statement, Zion's legacy of love, joy, and faith lives on through the countless lives he's touched in his community. If you would like to read the full statement from the Bischoff family, you can find it up on our website, KREM.com. In studio, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
The Spokane hockey community is rallying around 5-year-old Amelia and her family. She died in a head-on crash near Elmira. Her mom and brother are recovering from critical injuries.
She was so excited to get to watch her older brother play like she has in the past. So this hockey community has been truly supporting of us in our hour of need.
Amelia's uncle, Philip Sears, has found comfort in the gestures of support this week. Spokane Junior Chiefs shared these photos showing teams of all ages kneeling in a moment of silence. Others donned the family's last name on their jerseys. 2, 3, Patrick! That's 7-year-old Patrick's team. They wore his jersey number on the back of their helmets. And the greater hockey community is also supporting the family by placing their hockey sticks on the porch, using the hashtag #SticksOutForAmelia. Philip says the family is just overwhelmed by all the support they've received.
We absolutely appreciate the love of this community. People I've never spoken to, I don't know. They don't know our family, but the amount of love that they show for Amelia is what's going to get us through.
He says his sister and nephew are still in the hospital and have a long road of recovery ahead. As for Amelia, she won't easily be forgotten.
She will be remembered as the light in the room. She loved to talk to everyone. She loved to tell everyone long stories. She will forever be remembered.
I'm Brandon T. Jones, and thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus for our year in review. We've been taking a look back at some of the big news stories from the past year in the Inland Northwest. Let's get back to it with some headlines from December 2024.
Yeah, well, I want to emphasize that all lanes have finally opened this evening. And right now, I'm right outside the 272 Medical Lake exit, outside this gas station where many truckers were rerouted earlier this morning after the collision because both westbound and eastbound lanes were closed.
Washington State Patrol said at about 8 a.m. the semi-truck that had both diesel and gasoline tanks on it began rotating and the cab of the truck hit a rock wall. This is dispatch audio between emergency responders from this morning.
Dispatch from 265 Command. It is a tanker truck. We're going to need a hazmat.
The hillside, multiple trees are on fire.
The truck also hit some guardrails, and then moments later, the tanks exploded in flames. Then the cab caught fire soon after.
A full vehicle and both tanks then caught fire. There were several explosions. It's unknown if it was speed as a factor or icy roads or maybe even a possible medical problem.
Many people on their morning commutes were stopped and forced to take back roads.
When I took the 264 exit, we were like at a standstill for most of it. So, and then coming into Cheney, I've never seen that much traffic in Cheney.
Another commuter told me it took 2 hours to drop their child off at school. Although WSP does not know the official cause of the collision yet, we do want to note the area of the collision had severe ice warnings up until about 11 a.m. this morning.
And from my phone call earlier with the Washington State Patrol, next of kin of the truck driver had not been alerted yet, so they were still waiting to identify the truck driver. Off of 272 Medical Lake exit, Regan Gallo, KREM 2.
A Pasco family is searching for answers tonight. They believe Robert Martinez is the person who died in the I-90 tanker crash near 4 Lakes last week. After meeting online and getting married 5 years ago, Kimberly Martinez says she could always count on her husband, Robert, to be there waiting for her after she came home from work. But one day, he wasn't there.
He was my everything.
The morning of the crash, Kimberly says she and Robert were texting about the road conditions.
And I just said, be careful. And he said, I'm slowing down. And he was a careful driver, regardless.
Later in the day, Kimberly says she got a call from the fueling company Robert worked for, Cougar Den Fueling.
And I knew something was wrong just because why would they be calling me?
Telling her there was an accident on I-90 and they were 99% sure it was Robert who died in the crash.
I texted him. I tried calling him because I thought, what if they were wrong? What if there's a mistake?
While authorities haven't fully identified him because of the lack of DNA at the scene, the Martinez family has done their own investigating. The family says the last location his phone pinged was near the same site of the I-90 tanker crash. In the phone call with his company, they told Kimberly he had the only truck in the area, and he never came home that night.
I just kept thinking, I'll be home tonight. And if it was a mistake, it will figure out a way to get a hold of me.
Based on this information, the family believes it was Robert who died in the crash. Robert's son Gavin detailing what life has been like without his best friend.
This is like the longest I've ever gone without talking to him. So I just miss him. I just miss his voice.
I want to hear him. I want to hold his hand.
While there are still more questions than answers surrounding the crash, one thing is certain. Robert's family is choosing to focus on who he was and what he meant to those around him.
I'm just very, very blessed to have had him in my life.
A family friend of the Martinez family has set up a GoFundMe to help the family while they're grieving. Washington State Patrol says they are waiting for DNA results to confirm the driver's identity. They are hoping to do that by confirming the victim's DNA match to Robert's son. Those results should be finalized here in the next couple of weeks. In the newsroom, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
Mark and Sarah Edge filed medical malpractice and negligence claims against their son's oral surgeon. They claim he split his attention by administering anesthesia while also performing surgery on their son. They now want to save other families from suffering the same loss by bringing awareness to this common practice. We are not naming the dentist in this lawsuit because he is not being criminally charged or investigated. The Edge family never imagined a life without their son and brother.
He was our sunshine.
As a reminder of the light Eric once brought into their lives, his parents Sarah and Mark and brother Zach wear a tattoo of his thumbprint on their wrists.
We can feel our pulse through his print, so it feels connected still.
A connection that brings some comfort to the Edge family as they're living through the unimaginable.
Our son went in for routine with wisdom tooth removal, and he died.
The 17-year-old went in for surgery this summer. Eric died unexpectedly from complications during the surgery. The medical examiner's report says Eric died from cardiac arrest, likely caused by a reaction to anesthesia.
We don't know exactly how he failed. We just know our son died.
The family filed a lawsuit against Eric's oral surgeon, looking for answers and to raise awareness.
We want to know what happened and make corrections to whatever that was, so no other family in Spokane or anywhere has to go through this type of grief and loss.
The lawsuit claims during Eric's surgery, the oral surgeon acted as both anesthesia provider and oral surgeon. It says the oral surgeon failed to recognize and respond in a timely and proper manner, resulting in injuries that caused Eric's death. His parents say they didn't know the oral surgeon was acting in both roles.
Do you think if someone else had been the anesthesiologist, that second person, that the outcome of that surgery would have been different?
Oh yeah. I don't think we would be here today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Washington Department of Health requires a permit to administer all levels of sedation and general anesthesia. Department of Health records show Eric's oral surgeon is a licensed dentist and has a dentist general anesthesia permit. Based on those records, the dentist was acting in accordance with medical guidelines. But we found the American Dental Association requires at least one person present for patient monitoring, in addition to the dentist, at any level of sedation. The policy says that additional person must be trained in basic life support for healthcare providers. We don't know what happened leading up to Eric's death. That's what the Edge family hopes the lawsuit will uncover.
I reached out to the dentist's attorney, Stephen Lamberson, who says his client is not speaking with the media. Instead of giving an interview, Lamberson shared a statement on his client's behalf. We've redacted the dentist's name because he is not being criminally charged or investigated at this time. He says Mr. Edge was his client's patient, and Eric's death was unfortunate and unforeseen. He and his staff have been deeply impacted, but his client followed safety protocol and met standard of care. His client is prepared to respond to the lawsuit and defend his care. Still, the Edge's attorney says Eric's reaction to the anesthesia is common and preventable.
Any anesthesiologist who didn't know how to respond appropriately to this kind of complication would have a long trail of bodies behind them in their career.
The American Dental Association, or ADA, offers a list of questions parents can ask their dentist about sedation and general anesthesia for their child. They include, how will my child be monitored before, during, and after the procedure? And does the dentist have all the permits or licenses required by the state dental board to provide the planned level of anesthesia or sedation? Meantime, through their lawsuit, the Edge family hopes to find their own answers.
Yeah, I'm still in shock, just like our whole family. An incredible loss that didn't have to happen.
They admit navigating a life without their sunshine hasn't been easy.
Our bond is unbreakable. I still feel connected to him.
But they'll hold close to the memories Eric left them. Now, we do want to mention KREM 2 knows the Edge family because of their longtime involvement with Tom's Turkey Drive. Eric and his family have made yearly donations to the cause since the two boys were very young. This connection to the Edge family is partly why we're sharing their story. Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
At least 4 Meade football players have come forward saying they were assaulted and harassed by fellow teammates and that coaches and administrators did nothing to stop it. The initial assault happened back in the summer of 2023 at a football training camp out in Cheney at Eastern Washington University. Up until today, the district had insisted it did respond appropriately, but today that all changed.
Police records show a parent called EWU police in Cheney to report that a cell phone video showed a student being held down by multiple other teens and assaulted with a massage gun. Since then, more students have said it happened to them, more parents have reported their concerns, and multiple lawsuits have been filed against the district. This is the official report from the Meade district that was emailed to me this afternoon. It says Keith Stamps failed to appropriately respond to allegations of student misconduct and that he was dishonest with the district. In part, that report said his failure to inform district administrators about the allegations has had a detrimental effect on students, staff, programs, and the community. It goes on to say these allegations were left unaddressed for months, resulting in delayed Title IX investigations, delayed corrective measures for the aggressors, and delayed support for the victims, ultimately fueling a media firestorm, lawsuits, and calling into question the community's trust in the district. I spoke with the district spokesperson today. He told me Keith Stamps is no longer coaching or teaching with the Meade district based on probable cause to terminate his contracts. I'm told Stamps does have the right to appeal. They also told me today's decision came after another lawsuit was filed against the district in November that revealed a deleted email which included additional information and previously unreported allegations of student and staff misconduct within the football program. That included claims that students were held down while others used a massage gun, and that one of the coaches knew about it and reportedly told the students they were soft and that back in their day, we used a stick. The report concluded with Meade Superintendent Travis Hansen saying, based on the findings, Stamps' conduct is unprofessional, inappropriate, flagrant, egregious, based on substantial poor judgment, and a flagrant disregard of professional standards.
Now, I also spoke with a parent of one of the assault victims today. They told me they are at least glad to see the district is finally taking their concerns more seriously. If you would like to watch more of our exclusive coverage and interviews on this KREM 2 investigation, just go to KREM.com.
A routine drive this family makes several times a week took a frightening turn.
I was just scared that I was going to lose my daughter.
Zoe Moline was driving near Francis and Wall when her car suddenly caught fire. She sent me these photos showing the fire's aftermath. That night, she climbed through the driver's side of the car to reach her 3-year-old daughter in the back seat and save her from the flames.
All you really think about is making sure your child's okay. Trying to get to her as fast as I could is all I could think about.
A situation she and her daughter both still remember vividly.
It was really hard for us to both watch, our car go up in flames. I just thank God that I was able to get to her fast enough and everything turned out okay.
Everything except for her car that was destroyed in the fire. Now Malene is doing everything she can to get by without a car.
Getting rides, busing, I have a family member that's going to let me borrow their car for a little bit, but you got to do what you got to do.
Malene started a GoFundMe, raising more than half of the goal in just 1 week. Those funds going towards buying a new car before the weather gets worse.
I'm so thankful for people coming to help us, and it's just been really, really hard.
A light at the end of the tunnel, particularly with the holidays right around the corner.
And especially with everything that she just went through, I want to make sure that she has a really good Christmas this year.
Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
Thank you for joining us for this look back at some of the biggest news headlines of the past year here in the Inland Northwest. And don't forget, you can get the latest news and weather anytime here on KREM 2+. Just look for our most recent newscast in the video at the bottom of your screen. I'm Brandon T. Jones. Thanks for watching.